So welcome back. This is video number 7, and we are going to talk about color themes. Now, the reason behind this is because in the previous 2 videos, we talked about color psychology, and maybe you've already chosen specific colors. And those are really good from the psychology perspective and invoking certain emotions to create that positive experience. However, now that we have gotten over that hump, it's time to look at it from a design perspective. And that's really where color themes come from. And sometimes you're going to be able to find color themes or groups of colors that have been put together that a lot of people tend to use. So we're going to look into this a little more in depth so you have a better idea from a design perspective if the colors that you have chosen are going to work well together. Now, what I want you to understand is that we could go to graphicriver.net and take a look at all the different logo colors all day and every day. Now, that's not what we want. What we really want to do here is we want to take a look at logos that are actually made for real life companies that are in your niche, and take a look at the colors that they are using. So we're not necessarily plagiarizing. What we're trying to do is we're trying to figure out what color schemes are they using. Now, it's obvious to us now that not all companies are really going to think about color psychology, but the bigger brands are, and they're investing thousands and $1 million into brands and taking a look at the psychology of color. So that's what I recommend that you do in this example, is when you are looking for color schemes, take a look at bigger brands and what they are doing. So the easiest way to do that is simply by going to google.com and doing some basic research. So our goal here is not to figure out what looks amazing and fancy. Our goal is to figure out what the bigger brands are doing, so that way you don't have to reinvent the wheel. So what I recommend that you do is, in quotations, you want to put the niche or the keyword that you wrote up in the previous exercises. So I would do keyword, quotation, plus logo. And then that would give us an idea of the logos. Now, obviously, keyword is not our niche. So let's say, for example, that I want to build a specific business brand that is focused towards golf. So in quotations, I'm going to put that keyword golf plus the word logo. Now, as we are going through here, this is giving us a better idea of the pattern. And what you're trying to do is you're looking for a pattern. Try to find consistent colors that are being used over and over and over again. So if we click on images here, we're going to be able to see a better view of the colors. Now, obviously, some of these logos are for smaller companies, but some of them, as I can see here, are actually for bigger companies, golf courses, and so forth. Now, what is the color that you are consistently seeing right now as I'm going through here? So we're noticing a lot of blacks, a lot of whites, and a lot of greens. And not just any green, we're noticing a light green. And ask yourself as well, out of these, which ones are actually standing out to you? And I would ask several people who are in your niche to say the same thing. And we can see that the logos that have a light green are the ones that are actually showing up. So this gives us an idea that we definitely want to use green, because green emphasizes peace, growth, and a bunch of other things that relate to, landscapes and things like that. Now, what are the colors that show up that obviously are not that appealing? So, for example, this one here definitely stands out among this right here. This right here, it's okay. It's not that bad, but it definitely, compared to this one over here, this one actually stands out a lot more. So we notice there's a lot of greens and there's a lot of gold. And as you know, gold invokes the emotion of prestige and luxury. Remember, so you've got prestige in here, and as you know, a lot of golf courses are geared towards that specific demographic. So you're getting an idea that, okay, it's green and gold. So we can jot that down. So we write that down and we'll say light green and gold. And what I would advise you to do is, especially if you're trying to get a custom logo created, when it comes to hiring artists, they do need some guidelines as to what you're trying to achieve. You don't want to, tell them, here's exactly what I want. You want to give them a little bit leeway and a little bit freedom to use their creativity. But at the same time, you don't want to just say, hey, I just want something that's green and gold, because they might choose something that's different. So you want to choose the exact same color that you want to be using in your own logo, if that makes sense. So as we go through here, we scroll down to the bottom. This one here definitely stands out to me. So in that case, what you want to do is, when you like something that you see, if you click on it, and I'm going to click here, and we click on View Image. Up at the top in your address bar here, this is the location and the direct location of that image. So as we are taking notes, I'm going to say logos with colors that I like, that really emphasize that light green and gold. And I'm going to go back and I'm going to find another one. So we're going to go backspace. And we're going to go through. This one's good. And another little tip, to open new windows, what you can do is you can use the middle scroll button of your mouse and simply click on an image. And as you can see here, I have two tabs open. And if I see something that I like, I can always click it with the middle scroll button and it'll open a new tab. So that way I don't have to go back all the time, and I can simply go to that tab, click on View Image, grab the link as you can see here, and do this exact same thing here. And it's quick and easy. So what you're trying to do is you're trying to gather some intelligence as to what would be a good color. Which one out of these would actually stand out? So let's do this again. Instead of golf, perhaps let's do swimming, or you know what? Let's do fishing. Fishing is a very good market as well. Now let's go down and let's take a look at what kind of patterns that we can find. We see blue, there's a lot of blacks. Black, blue, green, and some reds. This one definitely stands out. So this one definitely has a mascot, as you can see here, and the mascot is incorporated into the logo itself. And we'll actually talk more about mascots at the last video. But for now, what kind of patterns do you see? So I see a lot of blues, dark and light blues, which invoke trust, and then greens, which is peaceful and earthy. So there we go. We got a lot of consistent colors here, a lot of them. And at the same time, you want to figure out which ones actually stand out. Now, you don't want to get too fancy and have too many colors at the same time. And you'll notice with looking at the logos for the bigger brands is that they all tend to use one color or two colors, one background and then one white or one color front. So this is actually a good example here. So we got golds here, prestige, we got blues here, which is trust, and then we got some greens. Now this one, in my opinion, has way too many colors, and you might want to just stick with two colors so that it's emphasized as well. Now this one has green and blue, which really fits that, earthy feel, and then of course the blue, which is trust. So there we go. That's what I'm finding here is for the fishing one, I'm finding a lot of blues and a lot of greens and some golds. So if you're trying to reach a market specifically that might be of, maybe richer people or prestige, then you might want to put some golds into there. If you don't and you have a different demographic, you might not want to put those golds in there because it might be a different demographic, different thinking, and they might feel that you might be too expensive. So that's why knowing your audience is key. So if we go here, we click on View Image, we grab the URL of the image, and we do the exact same thing over here. Click View Image, grab the URL here. And what you're trying to do is you're trying to get all this information so that when it comes time in video number 8, where we go out and we get somebody to create a logo for you, at that time, you can actually give them this information, this research that you have done. And by saying, hey, I really like the words here. I really like the words, that the words are white or blue. And I really like the way that this is, designed. So it doesn't have to be exact, but this is some guidelines that I like you to follow. Now, by doing that and giving it to the artist, more likely they're going to come out with something that you want and something that fits their style. One thing about artists is if you don't tell them anything about what you want, they'll go out and do their own thing. And every artist has their own style, so keep that in mind as well. Not every artist is going to be able to create exactly what you want because they do have their own style. So if you look at their portfolio and you don't like their style, then keep in mind that they're probably not going to be able to produce something of a style that you want that might be different. And that's why if you look at their portfolio and you say, aha, that's what I want. I love this person's style. I really like that style. That's the kind of style that I want. And that's the style that you're going to get. So hopefully this is good information that helps you to avoid reinventing the wheel. And in the next video, we're going to talk about how to get a logo created for you from scratch. And we'll also talk about, a different way of getting pre-made logos and picking and choosing them and then of course lowering your costs. With that said, we'll see you in the next video.